Hey you, how's it going? My name is Ruby Price and you're listening to the 15th ever episode of Fresh from the Scene. Before this podcast gets started, I say it every time, but if you do enjoy it, make sure you give it a share on social media. If you're using a platform that allows you to, please leave a review with, your thoughts of the podcast. It really does help out the podcast with analytics and stuff. And if people see that other people are enjoying a podcast, they're more likely to then go and check out the podcast. So, if you find any value whatsoever in this podcast, a little share, a little review makes all the difference in the world. Obviously everyone is currently aware the country's currently in lockdown, which sort of put a damper on my podcast recording plans. So this episode is very much a bit of a hybrid and a bit of a road test, essentially. It's the first episode of the podcast that's been recorded remotely using Skype, and, there might be a couple of teething issues, but, hopefully going forward, if this is the way that the podcast is going to be recorded, then it will be, a bit smoother in the future. Obviously, there's links in the description to all the social media stuff, and the brand new single that Arthur Walwin's released on the 3rd of April, that might be today. I am not currently sure about dates, because it sort of felt like that period in between Christmas and New Year when no one knows what day it is. If you want to get in touch with the podcast on social media, you can find links in the description, but also the podcast on Twitter is at FFTScene, that's FFTSCENE. You can find me on Twitter at Rubes, RUUBEZ. And yeah, I'm going to shut up now and let you listen to the podcast.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with your host, Ruby Price.
Welcome to Fresh from the Scene. Today's guest is the fantastic Arthur Walwin.
Hello.
Hey. We just obviously did this all off, recording, but you good?
No worries. Yeah, no, I am good. I'm all fine. As I was just saying, I was feeling trash for a while. Spent a couple weeks in bed, but now I'm all good. Feeling 100%, creating some good art. So, yeah, it's awesome.
For anyone who's listening who's been living under a rock for the last couple of weeks, the world has sort of shut down because of coronavirus. Fortunately, neither of us have it.
I know, fortunately, yeah. I actually feel like I'm living in a movie right now. It's so weird. Everything's just so strange, but yeah, it's just weird. It's so weird. I can't get my head around it. But yeah, like I said, I was ill during when it was just kind of coming about. So a few weeks ago, and it was crazy because obviously I was in bed and everyone was still talking about should we be going out or not. And I was like, well, I'm in bed anyway. And, when you're ill, it's just your whole world. You can't do anything. You're just in bed. I wasn't making music, obviously wasn't out doing any shoots or anything. And so it was just consumed everything. And now it's I've completely flip-flopped. And now literally I feel so great. But now there's this lockdown and no one can go out. And I'm just buzzing to catch up on everything that I missed out on. And it's everything is cancelled. Absolutely everything is just not going on right now. So it's pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, today they announced that Download and Isle of Wight Festival for 2020 are both being cancelled and just waiting until next year.
I saw that. That's crazy that it's not even... They've not even postponed it. They've just moved it to next year.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one for me was when they scaled down WrestleMania. So I'm huge wrestling fan, and every year it's the biggest event. I think this year it was meant to be 80,000 people in the stadium, and now they're just no, there's going to be no crowds, nothing. The minute they scaled that down, I was okay, this is actually a big deal now, because that event did not get moved or changed for anything. That is you're talking millions and millions for that company, and for them to sort of refund everyone, do all that. I was okay, this is actually real now. Because I was one of the first, and then they've stopped football and all sports.
Yeah.
And then EastEnders got cancelled. I was, nah.
I don't think I've ever heard of things like EastEnders being cancelled. It's like, what's going on?
It was weird because I was only looking it up a few weeks ago because I just like looking at random facts, and I was like, what? I wonder what their film schedule is, because it's on like every day. Well, it's like Monday. It's like, yeah, Monday to Friday, and then they have repeats and stuff. But like, to produce that much content since like the 80s, they never stop. I was like, this is like, I wonder what their schedule is. Like, how many episodes would they get done in a day? But yeah, like, so for all that just to stop, like EastEnders, Corey, all of them ones, like they've all stopped filming. I'm just like, this is mad. This is actually mad.
Yeah. One of the things that I always do at the start of like each episode is get the artists, or my guests at least, to tell the people who don't know who they are, like who like their artist is. So to someone who's never heard of Arthur Walwin, who is Arthur Walwin?
See, I actually don't know. I'm literally the worst artist. Wow. Do you know what? It's
quite the question.
I am a creative, and I hate saying that as well because it's like, it sounds so vague and it sounds so spacey. When people just say, "Oh, I'm a creative," and it's like, well, what do you create? So if I can try and summarize it, I used to play in bands. I used to play in like kind of pop punk bands, metal bands, that kind of thing. And then that led me to doing more like solo stuff, and like just general pop and a little bit of EDM kind of thrown in. So yeah, if you're Googling me and like on Spotify or whatever, or iTunes, like, yeah, most of my music is kind of pop, EDM, rock, fusion. But also, yeah, I just love being a creative. So I also I do a lot of portrait photography, and I shoot a lot of music videos with people as well. And just kind of make general like video content on YouTube, and yeah, just a bit, if it's creative and I'm being artistic in some way. Oh, and I produce as well. Yeah, that's the thing. I will forget so much stuff. I'm terrible at like kind of selling myself. But yeah, I've produced for like a few really good artists and had some really good stuff come out. But yeah, music, photography, video, like sports entertainment, all that stuff, like all kind of bundled into one. That's kind of me, but yeah, the book's still being written.
So I'm going to go back to like the first time I ever actually saw you in person. You were on stage in front of Manchester Arena playing guitar for Emma Blackery.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that was back in 2016. Like, what's happened since then?
That was the first time. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I literally remember. That was so good. That was such a good day because oh my God, that whole tour is such a blur. Honestly, like that was the best time of my life, like legit. That whole year, like I miss 2016 so hard. But I can't remember we either spent 2 days in Manny or we did one show and then came back.
Yeah, you came back.
Yeah, it was such a weird loop. We did 2 days in Liverpool, and then we went to Manchester, and then we did like the rest of the north, and then came back to Manchester a week later. And I was like, yeah, that was crazy. Especially that arena as well. I was like 11, and like my dad and I drove up there on a school night to watch wrestling, and like literally drove back like that night back to London. So to like play at that arena was so sick. Like it was crazy. But that was, I mean, I'm saying that, but we also played Wembley. We played at the O2 Arena. We played like so many iconic venues on that one loop. And it was so out of the blue. It was literally so random. So that was crazy. But yeah, that was amazing. That was such a good time. And yeah, literally since then, it was pretty much just like, once you kind of do something like that, I feel like it kind of changes your perspective on how you create and how you kind of market yourself. Because I just kind of, so on that tour, I was helping out one of my friends, Emma Blackery, who, like, even just her getting onto the tour was just crazy, random, and just lucky and just out of the blue. So, like, obviously I was just there helping her out, playing a bit of guitar, and I just wanted to live in the moment and just soak it up and just absolutely love life. Like, anyone that's done tours or anything like that, like, it's not how people glamorize it and they're like, oh yeah, tour life, man, like, it's sick. Like, especially on that scale as well. Like, there are so many moving parts to try and make like a big tour like that just function. So, I mean, luckily, like, I didn't really have much to do. I was like, probably enjoyed the tour more than anyone on it, I think. Because, like, Busted, like, those guys, every day they were doing, like, interviews or, like, meet and greets or, like, TV shit or whatever. And it was like, and Emma was doing a lot of press as well. And obviously there was, like, crew and staff sort of running about and da-da-da. And literally all I had to do was play guitar for like 20 minutes a day. And I was like, this is sick. Like, this is so good. So I had the best time. I was just like hanging out, like got to meet loads of really cool people and just chill. But I kind of came away from it thinking, oh man, I really didn't like capitalize on that in like a business sense enough.
Yeah.
When you do stuff like that, you realize that touring is just, you're promoting whatever it is that you're trying to sell. So like even YouTubers that do like book tours and stuff like that, like you're going out to be like, hey, here's my product, like buy it. And that's all a tour is. Like, you're like, oh, hey, we're going to play these songs so that you can buy them online when you go home. And it's like, yeah, I wasn't playing my own songs. I was like playing for Emma. So I think I did my job, but I was like, I should have been a bit more like kind of self-promoting and stuff and kind of been a little bit out there. Like, we met a lot of really like influential people and stuff, and I wasn't really like in the zone to like kind of be in their face and be like, oh, hey, this is me, this is what I do. I just kind of just sat back and just chilled out. But yeah, it was still cool. I had a good time. It was fun. So pretty much everything after that was just me being like, oh, okay, now like I've got a little bit of momentum, like online or whatever. So it was just me just trying to promote myself and just trying to get out there, and just releasing songs and just like videos and just trying to get better, really. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, I've kind of dipped up and down with like internet popularity, because I mean that's the thing nowadays. Like, if you've got a following online, then you're set. Like, you can do whatever you want. And I think my whole thing is like more about the talent and kind of what I'm putting out into the world and if it's good. So whereas some people, and you see it a lot, like people that are like kind of popular, they'll just kind of put out stuff and it'll kind of get torn to shreds and, you know, whatever. But I will, like, literally, I put a song on my Instagram today, the friends tagged me and they were just like doing like a little song challenge, like just like leak a demo that you have, just randomly. So I put up this song that I recorded in January 2017. No, 2018. So it's still like 2.5 years old. And it's a really good song that is just not quite perfect yet. And that's me. I will happily sit on the song for 2 or 3 years until it's perfect, rather than like upload content like weekly to try and stay relevant. And it's like, it's hard. I mean, from doing YouTube, like it's crazy. Like, I remember like when I first started and got into it, all like the gurus were like, the algorithm needs you to upload at least once a week to stay relevant and be in searches and stuff. And then that increased to 3 videos a week. And then daily vlogging started becoming a thing. So now, unless you're uploading a video every day, your videos were getting pushed back, and I was like, that is not my life. Like, I can't be doing. It doesn't spark that kind of creativity in me. Like, I will write a song once every 3 years that I'm happy with, and then I'll put it out, and if that's how it is, that's how it is. Like, so yeah. Sorry, very long-winded way to answer your question, but pretty much since we last met in Manchester, it has been me coming to that conclusion of I would rather put out good art than just stuff for the sake of it, basically.
Speaking of putting out good art, you obviously have a new single/short film, I think you described it as well.
Yeah. So, so again, this is a song I recorded late 2017. I started writing this song. And yeah, it was just something at the time, it was like super emotional, and sound-wise, I just kind of wanted to go in a slightly different direction. And yeah, it was just something that I thought was really cool, and I was really into it. And even when I was making the music, I kind of came up with the concept of doing it as a short film rather than just the standard music video where I'm just in the studio with like nice lighting and stuff. I thought, it's just it's been done. Like, everyone's seen that before. And also, from getting into more like cinematography and stuff, and just the more I'm behind a camera, I just get so fascinated by it. And like, I watch films in a different way now. Like, I notice colors differently and the way scenes are put together and how shots are done. And I'm just like, I've got a camera, like, I vaguely know what I'm doing. I can try this and kind of give it a go. And so doing a short film has always been in the back of my mind, and just doing something a bit more cinematic than just a standard music video. So yeah, this is just me just using my outlet to kind of like try stuff like that. It's just something I've wanted to do. I put up a casting call on Star Now, which is like the best website ever. Like, you find so many good creatives on there. So yeah, hired a couple of actresses. I borrowed a cinema camera off my friend, borrowed a lens off one of my other friends, and we shot it in my girlfriend's bedroom, and just like blagged a lot of places around London. Like, yeah, we shot in an arcade and like all this other stuff. Just literally just me and two actors just hanging out, just going around to different locations where just like, cool, right, we're going to film this scene here. And it was super fun. It was like one of the best days I've had. And it just turned out really, really cool. Like, it was just a cool piece of art. So yeah, that is coming out on April the 3rd. I'm putting up the song on like all the platforms like Spotify, iTunes, all of that at the same time as a music video. So that will obviously be on YouTube. But yeah, it's actually the first single that I've done in years, like, that's just me. Because I've been working with Kid Neko for a while, who's incredible. Like, he's so insane. And he was kind of like my safety blanket for a while, because I feel like I kind of hit a wall with production a little bit and kind of write songs. And he just came out of nowhere, and he's always just sending me like random beats, and he's just like, yeah, what do you think of this? And I'm like, well, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life. And I've just like kind of put my vocals on top of his production. And it's been fine, and that's been great. But yeah, this is the first time that, like, start to finish, kind of where I started really. Like, all my old stuff was just me producing, mixing it, writing it, everything. So yeah, this is kind of a return to that. And yeah, then like shooting and editing the video as well. It's just like a whole huge project that I've not done in such a long time. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing that come out in like, I think 10 days from now or something. Yeah, April the 3rd anyway, next Friday.
Yeah. Giving a bit of a reveal of how early this episode is being recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the people listening, podcast time, it doesn't actually exist.
Nah. Podcasts are evergreen. Like, you can... I mean, obviously some stuff is, like, topical and
yeah,
current events, but I feel like especially if it's someone you're interested in, you can just you can pick it up like any time and just be like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just listen to this today. Like, so yeah, I don't know when you're planning on putting this out, but yeah, we are currently recording it in the midst of this global pandemic where no one is allowed outside at all.
You mentioned earlier, like in this, you've produced for other people. You obviously produced As December Falls is, I think their only record, isn't it?
Yeah, we've done an album and 2 EPs and like a couple of covers. Yeah, fuck, we've done a lot. But yeah, they're amazing. I absolutely love them. They're like one of my favorite bands in the UK right now, like in the world, really. Like they're sensational. But yeah, we work really well together. Like we've done some amazing stuff, and yeah, it's just been great. Like can't really fault them as a band. Like they've just been working so hard. Like to see their growth since we started working together is absolutely mental. When did we even meet? I think it was Macmillan Festival, like 2014. And yeah, I think we played that same show, and I'd recorded some stuff for their friends, so they heard about me that way. And I remember we were just like on like a random night out in Nottingham after like one of my shows or something, and like a couple of them came out and we were like hanging, and then like we eventually like sorted out doing like a recording together, and yeah, it was so random. I mean, like the first couple EPs we did, a couple of them went to, I can't remember which college it is, but it's a college in Nottingham, and they just started like the music tech course or like music production course, but it was so random. So right, this is super weird. So there was a college and they'd started a music course, but it was like literally like just started it. But you could only have access to the studio when you were in your second year. So obviously, like this course had just started, so they were literally only first year, so there was just an empty studio. So I think it was Timmy, the bass player. He went to his lecture and he was just like, "Hey, we've got this producer from London, like, can we just have the studio for a week?" And it was like, yeah, cool. So we literally went in there, and it was just like, it was a playground for me. Like I had like all the best equipment, like, you know how colleges are, just like totally decked out and stuff. So that was great. So pretty much just like, I just went up there and we just recorded everything in this really nice studio and then brought it back here for the mix. And yeah, we did that for like 2 records and it was sick. Like it was awesome. And then by the time we did that album, because that was going to be like, that was a huge project. Was it 10 tracks? I think we ended up doing. So yeah, they just came down here for that, just spent like a few weeks at a time in Essex here. And yeah, we just made it amazing. Like it just works really well. Like I said, just really get on. They're super receptive to my ideas. I really like the songs that they write. They write really good stuff, so it's quite easy for me to kind of chip in ideas and kind of make it better. But yeah, they're doing amazingly well. Like their tours are selling out, which is insane. I always try and see them when they play London, and it's just, yeah, literally there was a show that they invited me down to, and it was just like, there was like 4 of us in the crowds just chilling. And then I saw them a couple of weeks ago and it was like Ramo, like you could not move. Like you literally, we were like right at the back of the room, like just proper sandwiched in. Like it was crazy. It was absolutely insane. So yeah, loved seeing their growth and progression. And yeah, I think they're writing at the moment and working on some new stuff. So should be pretty cool.
So if there was anyone that you could produce, you know, let's say on a wish list, like who would you really want to produce for?
That's a good question. And it's hard. And you know what? This is like, it's hard because, all right, so here's my thought. As a producer, I love it when I hear a band and I'm like, it's like, they need to need me, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like a producer should bring something to the table. Like, and anything you hear of mine I've done with someone, it's a collaboration, even though it's just like, oh, okay, this is their song. Like As December Falls, for example. Like, I mean, it literally happens in every song. Like, they'll give me like the rough demo, and I'll text them back and be like, yeah, maybe change this chord, or like move this around, or change this lyric, or let's like add harmonies here, or or whatever. And I feel like I've actually contributed to this song and changed it in a way to make it like subjectively better from my ears. When there are artists that I love and they sound amazing and they're so good, but I just like listening to it. Like, I don't know if I could actually contribute music or do anything. Like, for example, like I love country music. Like, it's one of my like huge things. Yeah, so many amazing country artists that I absolutely adore. And there's a band from Essex called Holloway Road, who are like, they're one of like the biggest like country bands in the UK at the moment, because they're one of the only country bands in the UK at the moment. But like they're amazing. They're an amazing band, but country's not huge here. But yeah, there's some guys that I know from my area. So we linked up and like tried to do some like writing and stuff. And I was just like, I can't write country. Like, I love it. I love listening to it, but I don't know where to start like writing that kind of music. So yeah, it's hard. Like, I'd say, yeah, I don't really have a wish list, really, of any bands that I'd want to work with, because if I like a band, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, you've already, like, you're doing what you need to do anyway, so I'd really jump in. But if I say there's a band I want to produce, it kind of means that I don't think they're where they are at the moment, and that they would benefit from working with me. So I don't know if I would diss a band in that way and say that they need me as their producer. But okay, to rephrase your question, if there is, what I would love to do is, if say Mayday Parade were making an album and they already had their producer, whoever they're working with, and I could just hang out and I could just be in the room, or like, yeah, or even if I was just engineering and just like not being a creative, just sitting there and just recording stuff. Yeah, like probably Mayday Parade. Or I heard a rumor that apparently Paramore's next album is going to be a rock record. So if that is the case, I would love to be in that room, because that is like, that's my stuff. Paramore doing rock music is like my favorite thing ever. So probably either one of those two. But yeah, I was a huge Mayday Parade fan for years. And then they kind of went off and, you know, did like a different style, which is well within their right as an artist. Like, I totally respect that. But I'm stuck in 2006. Like, I love pop punk, emotional music. So yeah, I wasn't really connecting with the new stuff, and same with like Paramore's like more radio stuff. Like, it's amazing for them. They're doing fantastic. It's important as an artist to grow, but it's just like, yeah, as I said, I'm stuck in the past.
Yeah. What's your take on Hayley Williams' solo stuff so far, then?
Again, yeah, it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't in it, which is fine. Like, it's cool. 'Cause I get it. Like, I totally understand artists wanting to do different things and experiment, and I guess essentially just be true to yourself, if that is what she's doing. Like, if that's the kind of music that you're listening to and you're influenced by, like, I fully support just doing that and just doing whatever's true to you, whatever like fuels your creative juice. Like, go for it. Don't just stick to something because that's what your fan base is known for. Like, you know, and yeah, I totally get that. And it takes a while to really appreciate that. And and also to kind of articulate it in a way that doesn't just sound horrible, like, because you see it so much on the internet, like people just like bash stuff and they're just like, oh yeah, it's not as good as their old stuff, like da 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 and all that. And it's like, that's really easy to say, but until you've been an artist like myself, who like, so I got, I'd say, popular from my song All For You, which is like yeah, I'd say it's a ballad. Who would I liken it to? Maybe like James Arthur kind of style of music. And yeah, that's when like I really kind of took off, and like Radio 1 were playing it and stuff, and a lot of people know me from that song. I got bored of that style of music just completely by accident. I just started writing a lot more kind of upbeat music just for a laugh, and I was like, and I remember playing a show and they randomly cut our set, like literally on the morning of the show. They were like, oh, okay, like we need to cut everyone's set by like 10 minutes. So I had a half an hour set, which was like a mix of ballads and then kind of up-tempo songs. And we were like, shit, we need to lose like 3 songs. So I just cut a bunch of ballads, and it was like a whole set of upbeat music. And I was like, hang on, like this could be my life. Like this could be every show. Every show could be an upbeat show rather than like slow kind of emotional stuff. And I was like, I quite like this. And so that morphed into like me writing more up tempo kind of music. And obviously I got comments from people being like, oh, we liked your slow stuff and your sad stuff, and it's just too poppy and commercial. And I was like, oh, but I'm enjoying it. Like I so I get it. I get Hayley Williams wanting to do whatever style of music it is. I guess pop. But it's not like Dua Lipa pop. It's like
it's like alternative pop or whatever that means.
Yeah, it's her own thing, which is amazing. But yeah, I love like Riot and All We Know Is Nothing. Like they're like 2 of my favorite albums. Like, you know, and it's completely not that, which is okay. But yeah, it's, you know, there are so many artists like that have like done their own stuff and gone their own way, and it's fine. Do it. Like they're obviously happy, and like people like it. Like I've seen a lot of people receiving it well. So, you know, just because I don't like it, it's not a big deal. Yeah.
So more recently, you've been doing a couple of like live acoustic sets. How different is preparing for a set like that than like a big old stage show?
It's not as fun. I'll say that. Like, not taking anything away from the shows I've done, because they like were great. Like I had a great time. But yeah, it's not the same energy as like a full band show. Yeah, basically. I've done 2 shows. Both were at the Slaughtered Lamb in London, and one of my friends, Justin, he's like one of the last like great promoters in London, and he's literally like just been keeping the music scene in London alive, like the alternative scene. And yeah, he always puts on good shows. And he approached me about doing a couple, and I was just like, yeah, cool. Like, why not? Like, you know, I wasn't actively seeking any shows or anything. But yeah, it was like an intimate show for a friend. And I'd actually been to that venue recently for like a rap battle. It was crazy. Like this proper like, there's this company called Don't Flop, and they do like 8 Mile style like UK rap battles, and it was sick. So I went to one there, and it was just a really nice venue. It was a really nice vibe. So I was like, yeah, I'd actually really like to play there. So we did it, and yeah, it was so cool. It was just a good vibe. Just reworking all my electronic kind of songs into like acoustic. It was fun. But yeah, there's something about like when you've got the whole energy of the crowd and it's all like it's proper kicking off, like I don't think it will ever compare to an acoustic show. So yeah, it was different, but I had a good time. And anytime I can get on stage and play my songs, like it's fun. So like I had a good time. But yeah, like not wasn't as like energetic and stuff, and like I'm used to jumping around and doing like crazy frontman stuff, so it was different. But yeah, it was a fun night, fun couple of nights.
I guess what we need to do then is get you to do, some bigger shows, full band
You
stuff.
know what? Like, it's in the back of my mind, and like I kind of go, I flip flop between like missing it and not missing it. Yeah, it was jokes. I met up with As December Falls, as I said before. Like I went to one of their shows. And obviously, like we got there for like sound check, and we were like hanging out with them and stuff. And a few of my other friends were playing. They were supporting as well. Like I knew a few different people in like some of the other bands. And like being there at sound check and seeing everyone like with their equipment and stuff, and I was like, I don't miss this at all. Like I really don't miss
Having to turn up to a venue like 8 hours early.
Yeah, and like one of the bands had a problem with their in-ear monitors, and one guy's guitar wasn't working, and this guy like lost all his drumsticks, and then they were like had like cram all their stuff afterwards, like a tiny Fiesta, and I was like, oh man, like I don't miss any of that at all. Like, yeah, I just love the moment when you're on stage and you're doing your stuff and the crowd's going crazy and it's a packed room. But the reality is sometimes it's not a packed room. Sometimes you don't sell out shows and you're playing to like a few people, and sometimes stuff goes wrong and like, I don't know, like the backing track cuts out or something, or like sound man's a complete idiot and everything sounds terrible. And yeah, like I've had, it's weird because like, I'd say like the last couple of shows I did have kind of made me look back on that whole time with like really, really like rose tinted glasses, like it was coming off of the Busted tour, and then I did like a couple of tours where I was doing my own music, but because of the momentum of that, they were huge. And so literally like the last time I've been on, like the last probably 10 shows I've done have been all sold out shows. But that's not the reality of what I'm used to. Like you literally, like if I was literally to announce a show right now, like I doubt I'd really sell many tickets because I've not put out any music in such a long time, or really like pushed myself out into that like kind of like live circuit.
Yeah.
So that's not the reality of it. Like I wish it was like if Oasis announced a show to they would literally sell out like 50 Wembley stadiums, like guaranteed, like absolutely guaranteed. Whereas I think because of like the uncertainty of what I would be coming back to, I'd kind of be like, oh yeah, I don't know if I could go. I think like the last show I played, it was O2 Academy in London, which is an amazing venue. And it was so good and it was so packed. I don't know if I could pick up from where I left off. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It would be crazy. I don't know what situation would have to unfold to make me like want to do a cool show like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like I miss kind of aspects of it, but yeah, I think kind of seeing my friends and their show and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, like the reality of actually trying to do a show is a lot different from what's in your head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So other than the song that's obviously coming out on the 3rd, are we going to have to wait 3 more years for any more new music, or is it going to be like, prompt some stuff to happen?
No, you know what? I'd say even before like this like apocalypse thing that's happening right now, I was already kind of like on the cusp of like working on some stuff. But yeah, now that the world is like closed basically, I've just been on such a good creative buzz, and I feel a lot of people are the same actually. Like a lot of my creative friends are just like, they're just like, oh okay, let's just do lots of stuff now. So it's great. Like, there's a really good creative vibe going on at the moment. But yeah, like I said, even before like this was all going on, I've been working on. I'd say, oh yeah, I can say, I don't really care. Oh, how much can I kind of give away? But it really doesn't matter. I've got at least an EP that will be out shortly. Yeah, I've got like five tracks that I've been working on that have just been like, it's just sat there whilst I wasn't really feeling, music and everything. But it just happens like that. Like creativity, just like it comes and goes, and you can never really control it. And yeah, these are all songs that at one point were probably like inches away from just being deleted, like straight in the recycle bin, like gone. And I like, it's a creative thing. It's an artistic thing. Like literally so many songs that I think are absolutely amazing. The actual artists themselves, they've gone, oh, I hate that song. It's terrible. Like, don't like it. I wish we never brought it out. I'm like, what are you on about? Like, this is insane. But yeah, I'm guilty of the same thing. So yeah, I've got those, and I don't want to say too much in case like I end up flaking on the idea. But I've got like 10 songs that don't fit into what Walwin is. And they're like, but they're still really good songs that I want to bring out. And there's songs that some I'm not going to sing on them. Because I've written a few songs that are specifically for a female artist. So I've got a few people like lined up to like feature on those, and yeah, I kind of want to do just like a feature project that's separate from what I'm releasing, and yeah, that's in the works as well. So, and yeah, that will all like kind of be coming out soon, but. Yeah, the past couple of years have just been me not feeling music at all, like just really struggling with creativity. And I feel like now it's all kind of flooding back, so it's just a case of getting it done. And by chance, this is the perfect time to get all...
Like, from what I've noticed, everyone either seems to be like unleashing all the creativity because they have no choice but to, they can't go anywhere. Or like, for some people, it's just sort of stopping everything because they were at that stage where they needed to be able to go out the house to do the creativity stuff. Like, I know a couple of bands who like have had to like postpone recording sessions and stuff with people because don't want to give it away.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I've seen a few people like cancel like recording sessions and obviously like tours and stuff have been cancelled. But yeah, I just count myself like so lucky that like I have my studio here and I have everything I need. And it's, you don't like, I didn't really like think about it until my friends put up a post the other day, and they were like, they were actually meant to be like releasing a song this week, but the producer they work with can't get to his studio. So they're like, well, he can't mix it, so like it's done, but we're just like, he physically can't get there. So yeah, there's like so many like crazy issues like that going on at the moment. Yeah, luckily, I've got what I need here, and I've actually like just been working with a few different people, just remotely, like, just one of my friends, like, should we just collab on this track? And yeah, just literally emailed me vocals and just like threw it into the project. And yeah, I'm lucky. We're really lucky that we live in a time like this where we have so much technology that we can create stuff like, remotely and just work with each other that way. And it's like, it's mad.
Whilst I've still got you here, like, obviously there's a lot of things that you do. Is there anything you would like to, plug or promote whilst, you're here?
Well, got my new single on April the 3rd coming out called Calgary. That's been like my main focus of like the past few months. It's just been like putting that all together. And it's just great because it's just like it's a whole creative project. Like, it's not, like I said, like I didn't want to just bring out a song and be like, okay, cool, here's a song. It's like everything, just the whole story. And there's like an amazing like visual story to go with it, to kind of really like just dive into that whole world of kind of, and it's weird because it's all based around like my personal emotions and what I was feeling at the time and about the song. And it's like, it's kind of about like the struggles of a couple kind of facing a long distance relationship and like everything that would entail. And I was just like, okay, how do I capture that in not only a song, but in a visual aspect? And so that's going to be like a really cool project just for me to kind of put out and be like, yeah, this is what I can do and like enjoy it. But really, like once that's out, like, I don't know, because it's like, yeah, like to be fair, yeah, like I'm making a lot of stuff here. Like I said, like I've got a few songs that are like, they're more or less done. It's just me being a very picky artist and producer, being like, it's not quite perfect. But yeah, there's a lot of songs that could be out tomorrow, but it's like, now that I've done like a visual story for Calgary, it's like I kind of want to do it for all of them. And I kind of want every song to not just be like, here's another song for Spotify. It's like, okay, what kind of story can I tell around this song, and how can we build this to be like a huge creative project? So really, it's just down to how much I can do without leaving the house for the next couple of months. Yeah, basically, like, yeah, Calgary's done. That's coming out. And then beyond that, we'll see. But it's a very good creative time.
And if people, want to find you on socials and stuff, where do they go to find you?
Probably the best couple of places are either Instagram or Twitter. And both of those are just _Walwin, WALWIN. I am on other platforms, but probably don't use them very much. But yeah, Instagram and Twitter are like, I mean, yeah, they're the main ones. Like, I'm on there, so find me on there. And obviously, like, if you want content, if you want to actually experience my art and just not listen to like dumb shit I'm saying on Twitter, then YouTube is youtube.com/Walwin Music. And obviously Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Deezer, Tidal, all of them. Literally every platform. When I upload my music, I just tick the all button, just put it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walwin, WALWIN on all platforms.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, and I hope that the new song and short film goes really well for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with Ruby Price.
Thank you very much for listening. As always, you can find the links in the description to everything that Arthur wanted to plug. Thank you very much to Arthur for coming on the podcast. It was, really good to speak to you for the first time in a very long time. But yeah, that's life these days, isn't it? Yeah, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, give a share on social media if you did enjoy. Leave a little review if you're listening to it on a platform that gives you the opportunity to do so. Apple Podcasts definitely does. There might be a couple of others. I don't think Spotify does, but, you can always share it. Always share it. As always, I've been Ruby Price, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Thank you very much. Goodbye.